Yo, 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 what is good, y'all? Welcome back to another edition of Newton's Manga Academy. Oof, I'm excited for this one. Like, is Oda gonna dick tease us, or is Oda gonna give us the heat this chapter? Like, I'm truly curious to see what Oda's gonna do. Um, because Oda's very classic. He could go either one or two ways. He could either make sure he could give us an action-packed chapter like some of the Luffy Kaido chapters were, or he could cut off into something completely different. So I'm curious to see what route Oda's gonna pick. All right, so let me check the stream right quick. Hop over to YouTube. How y'all doing, by the way? Hope y'all doing well. I'm such a no-name scrub that even my own channel doesn't come up. Academy. Ah, there we go. All right, so we're all live. All right, so without further ado, let's dive into the chapter of 1181 of One Piece, titled "A God and a Devil." So we got Carrot on the cover. We got some sharks that are painted funnily. She has Queen on her jacket. Is that foreshadowing Carrot versus Queen? I don't know. Them One Piece theorists, they break down all of these different details. So I'm curious to see what type of theories. Let me see Ninjin Park, Zoe, and we see. I can't really make out what it says on the other arrow, but let's read. Cover up crest by Nakahara Michi. Carrot sings as she strolls over sleeping panda sharks at sea. Oh, that's adorable. All right, let's dive in. This is going to be gas. Memories from 14 years ago. I am the worst king in the history of Elbaf. So this is Harald. You must kill me and take the throne, Loki. Loki. He was only 100. So this is Loki. He was only 144 at the end. Giants usually live to 300. He died way too soon. You tricked my dad, right? That makes you responsible for his death. Emu looking beastly. The one suffered most from that inconvenience was Moo. So Loki's getting Ragnar. You see Conqueror's hockey. Damn you. Back then, we see the sky. You see crackling in the skies. We see black fire around Emu. The sky is rumbling. We see Conqueror's hockey sparks emanating from the sky. I don't care about how I'm remembered. So Loki's remembering, about to say Odin, Harald getting skewered. So Loki stanced up. Emu's looking at him. He's still thinking, that's not important. The only thing that matters is securing Elbaf's future. Isn't that right? Back then, what did you do to my father? So we see Ragnar. Ragnar's looking intense. Ragnaizuchi. And he's swinging at Emu. And Emu makes like another shadow ball behind him. And it clashes with Ragnar. And we see the gap. So this is a Conqueror's Hockey clash. So Emu's emitting this black substance. And it is gapping with Loki's attacks. And we see it clash. It creates a giant shockwave that blasts everything away. We see Bonnie. We see Lilith. Who is Bonnie holding? I'm not certain who's Bonnie's holding actually. So we see Jinbei. We see Nami. We see Frankie. So we're back to Loki and Emu. I can't believe he tanked that. So this is Loki. What's with these black flames? What sort of power do you have? So Emu's emitting more black flames from his arms. Omen. Loki's about to strike. So Emu's continuing. Omen is simply Mu's military might. That demon circle with the eyes is cool. Wait, what? Oh, I didn't even notice that. Emu's getting bigger. Loki, gigantification? So Emu's cloaking his glaives more with that black omen stuff. Its power dwells in all things, and I think Loki's still bigger, and it clashes, so it makes like a giant mace or a morning star like weapon. It looks like, and it clashes with Ragnar again. And Emu twirls behind Loki, and he has the glaive pointing at Loki's head. Whoosh! Oh shit! He stabbed and pierced Loki down through the sternum. Nemesis. Loki, ugh! Loki's coughing up blood. Strength. So Loki, strength is an attribute. Sorry, no, this is Emu. Strength is an attribute people naturally crave. Emu again with those black wings, and yet that craving can be easily satisfied via corruption. So when Emu says corruption, we get Dorian Brogy. So Emu's now twirling his glaive with the chomp chain at the end. It merely requires one to submit their will to a covenant. And then we got Herald with the tattoo. So let's dive this in. So, and yet that craving can easily be satisfied via corruption, and it merely requires one to submit their will via a covenant. When thy envy drives them, they'll achieve power, and there's an asterisk next to power. Those three things together form a trinity. So translator note, power, Chikara, is stated reading through it using the same kanji previously used for omen, maki, demonic aura. So when Emu said this, he threw the dark aura orb ball thing at Loki, and it explodes in Loki's face. We see Conqueror's Haki everywhere, known as Dominion. So wait, when their envy drives them, they'll achieve power. Those three things form a trinity known as Dominion. Those three things. So corruption, covenant, and power. So that craving can be easily satisfied via, or is it no strength? Strength is an attribute that people would normally crave. So the three attributes, is it strength? No, but it says power. I don't know. I'm curious. The Emu's talking in riddles. I'm not necessarily certain what are the three attributes. Is it strength, covenant, corruption? Is it corruption, covenant, power? But covenant is a pact you're making, so that covenant can't be a part of the Trinity. So that's part what I'm confused about. But strength, it definitely seems right. So when their envy drives them, they'll achieve power. Those three things together form a trinity known as Dominion. So as Emu says this, he's blowing up Loki. So Loki's falling back. Shall I grant thee the power of God? In one step, thou wouldn't go far beyond humanity. Loki's fucked up. He's getting whooped. He's coughing up blood. So Loki still counterattacks with Ragnar, and he smashes Emu to the ground. I don't want it. So the ground is shaking and it's crackling. So Loki's huffing. He's on the ground. So God's dominion, that's your power. It sounds more like a deal with the devil to me. Emu, is there a difference? We just see like a dark specter, or I think that's Emu's feet. We just see like a shadow floating behind Loki. That's beastly. Is there a difference between a god and a devil? Loki beats me. I just know I ain't gonna let myself be dominated by anyone. As Emu looks down from above. The world itself rejoices in a state of dominion. We just had an Emu flashback. Is that Joy Boy? Were Emu and Joy Boy homies? No. Isn't that right? So we see a silhouette for a person with a Luffy Roger like silhouettes, and we see a shadowy. They're all shadowy figures. So we see a Luffy Roger esque figure clearly wearing a hat, and we see a person wearing a cloak, or we see the emu silhouette. We just see that without the crown, but I'm guessing that that's emu in the background and Joy Boy in the foreground. Because Emu's thinking to himself, "Isn't that right? The world itself rejoices in a state of dominion." So Loki stands up, readying another strike. "Isn't that right?" So Emu yells, and as he's yelling, Conqueror's hockey's being emitted from his body. "Isn't that right, Joy Boy?" So Emu is pissed. The bolts of hockey shoot all over Elbaf. Even Luffy can feel it as he's eating. "Nom nom nom. Need more. Gotta eat more." And Luffy's just eating. "I've never felt anything like this before. Shoot, it's so heavy. It's like I'm suffocating. What's with this guy's hockey? If I don't eat all of this we can't win." So this is Luffy sensing Emu's hockey. More. Luffy's loading up. So Loki connects with Emu, and like you see the top half of Emu's on fire. "You still lost in thought? That tells me one thing. You're underestimating me." And Loki just shoots Emu across Elbaf. That's, again, Elbaf is a massive country. For Loki to shoot Emu that distance is nuts. Emu's in an impact crater. Ugh. Unfazed is looking. And Loki's going in dragon form. Oh no, Emu is bleeding. He's bleeding from the head. Or is that part? It's not. Yeah, it looks like he's bleeding from one of his horns. Needhog. Again, the hard R. So Loki's charging up an attack. And Emu's doing his omen finger blast thing. Thorheim. And Loki shoots out his blast. We see Conqueror's hockey bolts. Doubts really had returned. Did Emu just phase tank that? Did he just eat that? Or did he absorb it? Thou really hast returned. A fearless smile. One Piece 1181 end. What? Loki got dominated. I don't know. Emu was not even paying attention to that man. He was reminiscing about the good old days or the bad old days or something in between while fighting Loki. Round 1 goes to Emu easily. Wow. That move where Emu that nemesis when he stabs Loki is crazy. Wait a minute. Is that Mihawk's sword? Is that Yoru? Mihawk upscale. Am I doing it right? Am I doing a gender piece right? Yoru does look like that blade though. Yeah, but this Oda didn't dick tease us. We actually got some action. This was legit action between the two of them. And none of Loki's attacks worked. Thorheim, it worked. So Emu was bleeding at the end in the impact crater. So he definitely felt that. Well, I guess it wasn't Thor. So Thorheim worked and that last hammer hit worked. So Emu was bleeding before Thorheim hit. So those last two attacks Emu felt. So we'll see. So we're getting into round 2. So round 1, Emu dominated. GG's, not even close. But we'll see round 2. We're getting Loki in dragon form, and then we're going to get Loki in hybrid form. So I'm guessing we might get Loki hybrid form for another fight, and Emu beats Dragon Loki, and then we get hybrid Loki later on in the arc. Maybe Oda does hybrid Loki plus Luffy versus Emu. That's possible. I definitely think, because people are debating how strong can Emu realistically be. The answer is clearly how strong Oda wants him to be or needs him to be. That's the first answer. But like in terms of like in story comparison to characters, I was watching King of Lightning stream last week. They're like, oh, or was this Brago stream last week? Where it's like, what would happen if Big Mom and Kaido pulled up to Emu? I don't know. Like that was an interesting question. Um, if Emu styles on Loki and Luffy, then the answer is he'll struggle. He'll still he wouldn't style on Big Mom and Kaido to the degree of Loki and Luffy, but if he could style on Loki and Luffy at their current level, then he could handle a fight of Big Mom and Kaido coming at him at once, which is crazy to think about, to be honest. Like that is an absolute nuts thing to think about, like power scaling wise. So I'm really curious to see how Oda walks this fine line between we saw Luffy versus Kaido. So if Emu was just styling on Luffy, then come on, Oda. Like, so Emu's just that nasty. He would dog walk Kaido too. Like none of that makes sense to the fandom. So I think that's why the fandom is just like cautiously waiting about the results of some of these battles, because once you clear Kaido and Big Mom, we're not doing the whole Dragon Ball Z thing where the next opponent has to be stronger. I think people are thinking like it's just lateral opponents. Like the person Luffy fights at the end of the story might not actually be stronger than Kaido, which is weird to say. That people think that, yeah, the end of the series final fight, the person that Luffy fights is relative to Wano Kaido. Yeah. So Oda's definitely going to do the escalation of threat thing because that's classic anime, classic manga. But to what degree? Like, how far are we going to scale Joy Boy and Emu above the Shankses, the Rogers, the Garps, the Kaidos, the Big Moms? So I think that's the big question. I want to see how Oda addresses that. Because, like, the God Valley flashback did a lot to, like, humanize the old gen legends. Because I was like, one of King Lion's point was like he thinks the current gen is already at the old gen's level, if not probably maybe surpassing them. Which again sounds crazy. Like to me, like that's stupid. But like when you think about the God Valley flashback, it does well to power balance the old gen characters with who we're getting currently. Which is weird to say that Luffy is within earshot of prime Garp level as of currently in story, which still just sounds weird to me. But that might be how it shakes out in the story. But that depends on how powerful Oda. But Oda might scale down the Rogers and Garps to make the Emus and Joy Boys seem more impressive. So that might be what Oda is doing instead. Since we're moving past that generation, or I guess we're moving before that generation, let's put less emphasis on them and more emphasis on Joy Boy and Emu. So we're going to make those people the untouchable legends and make Roger and Garp seem more human in comparison. So I really want to see how Oda walks that tight line. Because the Emu styles on Luffy, that's going to shake the community. And I'm here for it. But I also don't like time limit cliches, to be honest, like Emu styles on Luffy, and then, I gotta go back to the Holy Land because I've been on the surface for too long. Yeah, I hate that. But they did say we gotta hurry in the last chapter, so it's probable Emu's on some type of restriction, some type of time limit, and that when that time limit runs out, he would be forcibly sent back to the Holy Land, whether if he wants to stay or not. So it's probably gonna be something to that effect. Or something crazy is going to happen to the Holy Land that forces Emu to just go back. So I'm curious to see, because I don't think Luffy's just going to beat him. No. If Oda does that, then that's spoiling a character with even though Emu technically doesn't have that much build-up, he does. Like, Emu's a 800 plus year threat. He shouldn't go down in Elbaf just like this. Especially with the Blackbeard plot points being resolved, and even the revolutionary stuff needs to be resolved too. Emu 100% should be a Blackbeard victim. They hoed Emu hoed Zebek in the most craziest of ways. Garling also should be a Blackbeard victim. And I don't know. I always think Garling should be a Shanks victim. Cause I don't know. Like Garling's smugness should get like absolutely rewarded with a dog walking. But the question is, who should be the one dog walking him? Should it be Shanks be the one to dog walk him because that's his dad? He killed his mom. Blackbeard should be the one to dog walk him because he killed his dad. Should it be Dragon to dog walk him? Because you could kind of blame Garling's killing his the mother of his kids to get Dragon off of his path of being a Marine. So you could argue any one of those characters could be the one to run the fade with Garling. So I'm curious. So yeah. So but Emu absolutely needs to be killed by Blackbeard. I do not accept any other outcome other than Blackbeard doing what his dad couldn't do and get back into the flower room. So that needs to happen. That scene has to happen. That conversation has to happen between Emu and Teach. So Emu's definitely leaving Elbath in good condition or good enough condition. So that's why it has to be some type of weird time limit thing that forces Emu away. But no, this was a really fun chapter. Watching Emu and Loki go at it, and watching Emu just ignore Loki and reminisce about Joy Boy. That is crazy disrespectful. Like you can see, like Emu's just zoning out as he's giving his speech, dodging Loki's attack. Then he has a flat, and he reminisces about Joy Boy. Then Loki smacks him with a hammer. That is crazy. So when Luffy gets into his Nika form, his sun god form, that's when Emu's going to get real active. So that's going to be when we're going to see Emu's true bag is when we see Gear 5 Luffy. And Emu's definitely going to spill the beans about some history stuff. So we're going to get a lot of info dumping. So the Emu Luffy fight is probably going to be a lot of lore and flash, but not much substance is my prediction. But with Emu and Loki, that absolutely should just be straight gas. Loki should be like, yo, my father's dead because of you. Emu's like, I lost my best slave because of you. And they're just fighting at it. But Luffy and Emu should be more of like storytelling fight. This is a really fun chapter. Oda was in his bag watching Loki get angry and strike Emu down. And watch Emu be completely unfazed by it. That's pretty dope. And Emu's tanky as hell too. So this is not going to be a pushover fight. But let me know what y'all think about the chapter in the comments below. Let me know what you think about the relationship between Emu and Joy, but that's revealed in this chapter. So it seems like they were homies at some point and something happened. Is Oda going to make this about a woman? Are we going there? Lily. So there's Lily. I think I just pieced it together. I just pieced it together, didn't I? So Lily chose Joy Boy, tragically died. Emu's upset at Joy Boy because Lily died. Bam. Lock it in. But let me know what y'all think about the chapter in the comments below. Peace out. Thank you for tuning in.